Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About. And in this episode we're talking about SCP-914, otherwise known as the Clockworks. For those of you who may know this number, SCP-914 is featured in SCP Containment Breach, which is a game, as the name suggests, SCP Containment Breach, but this is one of the SCPs in that game, and I know this SCP from that game, but I've never read the article about it. So I thought, hey, why not? Because honestly, 914 is a really cool thing. There's a picture for this SCP. It's a bit of a small one, but it looks like this. It is just gears. That's about it. There's text under the picture that says one of the least complex sections of SCP-914 in a non-active state. That alone implies to me that it changes when it's in an active state, but I don't know. I mean, obviously you cannot recreate its full likeness in a game. So, stuff is subject to creative process, I guess. But I've never knew this as the Clockworks. I always referred to it as the Upgrader. Or the machine. I referred to it when I played the game with friends, because there's a multiplayer version on Steam, which you should definitely check out, because it's fun. I always refer to it as the machine that I'll shove you into and create two of you. Not literally, but it does cool things. Object class is safe, meaning it's relatively fully contained. It doesn't really pose a threat to humanity or the Foundation, and is overall a just a safe thing, which is cool. Because we don't talk about a lot of safe SCPs. We always talk about the ones that can't be contained. Thank you, Leviathan. Special containment procedures are: only personnel who submit a formal request and receive approval from Site Command may operate 914. SCP-914 is to be kept in Research Cell 109-B with 2 guard personnel on duty at all times. Any researchers entering 109-B are to be accompanied by at least 1 guard for the entirety of testing. A full list of tests to be carried out must be given to all guard personnel on duty. Any deviation from this list will result in termination of testing, forcible removal of personnel from 109-B, and formal discipline at Site Command's discretion. Warning: at this time, no testing of biological matter is allowed. Refer to document 109-B:117. Applying the rough setting to explosive materials is not advised. Okay, so that's all the container procedures. I just kind of knocked that all out. But it's apparently heavily guarded. Probably because it's not dangerous, but because of what it could do. Because I know what it does, but I'm not going to spoil that, not yet. Any deviation from the list, you don't get killed. That's new for the O5 Council. The O5 Council usually just kills its people whenever they misbehave, or behave, actually. The O5 are very deadly people. They just like killing, I think. They should be contained. I think that's kind of the message here, ain't it? They should be the ones contained, because, oh my god, do they love killing. No biological matter is allowed. And also it says, the rough setting. You would set different settings. We'll get into that. Doing that in explosive materials is not advised. I'm assuming that makes it go kaboom, which is pretty funny, in my opinion. Which just signals to me the machine is indestructible, or maybe it isn't and it had to be repaired. That would also be very funny. Description. So, here's what this thing is. SCP-914 is a large clockwork device weighing several tons and covering an area of 18 square meters, consisting of screw drives, belts, pulleys, gears, springs, and other clockwork. It is incredibly complex, consisting of over 8 million moving parts, comprised mostly of tin and copper, with some wooden and cloth items observed. Observation and probing has shown no electronic assemblies or any form of power other than the mainspring under the selection panel. 2 large booths, 3 meter by 2.1 meter by 2.1 meter, are connected via copper tubes to the main body of SCP-914, labeled intake and output. Between them is a copper panel with a large knob with a small arrow attached. The words rough, coarse, 1-to-1, fine, and very fine are positioned at points around the knob. Below the knob is a large key that winds the mainspring. So that's a lot of stuff. It's big. There's no electronics. I don't know how it functions. Magically. That's how. Not real magic. Just I don't get it. It's big. And its panel has settings. Rough, coarse, 1-to-1, fine, and very fine. And turning each of those knobs to that specific point and putting an item in the intake, and then it comes out the outtake depending on whatever setting you put it on. It could come out as a different result. It's like an alchemy machine. One thing I do want to discuss is the 8 million moving parts. Somehow it fit all that into, what was it, 18 square meters? That's not a lot of space. 8 million moving parts. You can only imagine the complexity of this. And I'm assuming if it's all moving, it's all needed. So 8 million needed and moving parts. This is the most complex ingenuity in a machine. Continuing on with the last paragraph of the description, then we get to a test log of a bunch of inputs and outputs, which I think is going to be really interesting. When an object is placed in the intake booth, a door slides shut and a small bell sounds. If the knob is turned to any position and the key wound up, SCP-914 will refine the object in the booth. No energy is lost in the process, and the object appears to be in stasis until the output booth door is opened. Intense observation and testing have not shown how SCP-914 accomplishes this, and no test objects have ever been observed inside SCP-914 during the refining process. The process takes between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on the size of the object being refined. So that's what this thing does. It refines objects depending on the setting you put it on, which you can only imagine the stuff you could make. You put a lot of coal in there and you put it to fine or very fine, and you can make diamonds. It's literally an alchemy machine. I have a new name for it. I call it the machine I'll shove you in. I'll call it into the box. 914, I am referring to the alchemy machine, but in its article form, it is called the Clockworks. If you want to read it for yourself, go to the SCP Wiki, go to SCP-914, and you can find it. But it refines objects. You can only imagine what you could create. And biological material, if you put a person in there, what comes out? That's the question, and that's what I think the bottom of the article is. But we have a test log, so we're going to go through each of these tests. There's not a lot of them, but there's enough to be concerned. The first thing, this is Addendum 5-14. The input was 1 kilogram of steel on the rough setting, and output was a pile of steel chunks of various sizes, appearing to be cut by laser. So this thing has a laser in it somewhere. How? Where? What? That's what this thing does. Somehow it was cut by a laser. An input of 1 kilogram of steel on the 1-to-1 setting gave 1 kilogram of steel screws. An input of 1 kilogram of steel on fine gave 1 kilogram of steel carpet tracks. I don't know what a carpet tack is. Oh, carpet tack, not tracks. I'm an idiot. I can't read. 1 kilogram of steel on very fine gave the output of several gases that dissipated into the air quickly, and 1 gram of an unknown metal resistant to heat of 50,000 degrees, impossible to bend or break with any force, and a near perfect 1.6 times 10 to the negative 75 P conductor of electricity. So it's like a perfect metal. On very fine, you get a perfect metal. You don't even know what it is. It just made a new element. And it's like, yep, this is normal. It's just really weird. What were the gases? Were they poisonous? I'm assuming it's from the metal. I just perfect conductor, a near perfect conductor, mind you, not perfect, near perfect. The input of one wristwatch belonging to the doctor on course gave one completely disassembled watch. One cell phone belonging to redacted on 1-to-1 gave the one cell phone back, although it was a different make and model. Someone explain to me how the hell that happened. One standard Colt Python revolver on very fine. Output, aforementioned redacted, completely disintegrated all material and all matter in its line of fire. Object contained with high density gamma waves. So, oh my god. They put the revolver in on very fine and got some gun that could destroy all matter. So very fine, it's like the perfect output. It's what you're looking for, I imagine. Continuing with the inputs. You got an input of one white mouse on 1-to-1, and the output was one brown mouse. Just changed its genetic composition. You put in a chimp, one chimp on fine, output data expunged. That's horrible. God, that's terrible. What happened to the chimp? And one chimp on setting rough. It gives you the output of a badly mutilated corpse, showing signs of crushing and cutting with high heat. Oh my, that's... No, no, no. Why would you do that to the poor monkey? What did the monkey do to you? That's all the inputs and outputs. Next is document 109-B:117. It's the thing on why you don't put in people. So we're going to figure out what happened. There are 2 inputs and 2 outputs. Like input, output, input, output. So the first one, input, subject D186, male Caucasian, 42 years old, 108 kilograms, 185 centimeters tall, setting 1-to-1. Output was a Hispanic male of 42 years of age, 100 kilograms even, 188 centimeters tall. Subject was very confused and agitated. Subject attacked security personnel. Subject terminated. Jesus. Okay, input. Subject D187. Male Caucasian, 28 years old, 63 kilograms, 173 centimeters tall. Setting, very fine. Output was data expunged. Subject escaped from test chamber, killing 8 guards as well as Dr. Redacted. And another Dr. Redacted. It's really difficult to say that when I'm like that. Lockdown initiated. Subject causes containment failure of 3 SCP areas in continued escape attempt. Special response team engages subject, resulting in severe wounding of subject, partial memory loss in special response team members, and corrosive damage to plumbing. Subject expired several hours later, dissolving into blue ash and blinding nearby research teams. Biological testing with SCP-914 discontinued. What the hell did they create? It sounds like they created the ultimate human. But the problem is that when you do that, they become aggressive. It's like they're forgetting who they are. So you do that, they become someone else, and they don't know who they are, so they just start attacking. Something gets put in their head where they're aggressive. However, Very Fine made something that could spit corrosive acid, killed multiple people, 2 doctors, broke containment procedures of multiple SCPs, dissolved plumbing, and then created memory loss in team members, and then died. Dissolved in the blue ash, and then blinded nearby research team. Whoa, my god, it's like a chain reaction of everything. It's like 1,000 different things that could happen all at once. It's a nightmare. God. That's why you don't put people in there, because it creates psychos. It creates crazy monstrosities, maybe? Or just people with enhanced abilities. Like an X-Men creator. Love that. There's one more thing at the bottom. Note. It's a note. So, note. Because of the nature of this SCP, a wide range of test data would be helpful. Dr. Gears has ordered that any researcher can have access for non-biological testing if they themselves are or they are supervised by a level 3 researcher. All testing is to be recorded in file pound 914-E. Biological testing will continue only with prior clearance by O5 command. As long as you want to try something mundane that isn't alive, feel free to help accumulate data. Sincerely, Dr. Redacted. And that is the entire article. Oh my. So that's a lot of information to process. You put things in, depending on the setting, you get a new thing. You put a person in there, and you get something. You get something nightmarish. Put a chimp in there, and the chimp dies, and I feel awful about the chimp. Again, if you guys want to read this article for yourself, go to the SCP Wiki, and then go to SCP-914, and it's the Clockworks. And you can see for yourself. A lot of this signals to me that there's a lot, it's like bigger on the inside than you could see. That's what I would imagine, because there's no way to see the item going from the input to the output, which is concerning. So it's not, maybe it's teleportation, but something tells me that it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Like a TARDIS from Doctor Who, but instead of time travel, it just kills you or changes you against your will, which is creepy. That's the entire article. So I think I'm going to leave this episode here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe, as that helps with boosting the channel a lot. If you have any recommendations for other things I should talk about or games I should play, leave it in the comments and I will be sure to see what I can do. And yeah, thank you all so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!